symmetry, direction of opening, min/maximum value, and the Y-intercept.
Okay.
And the equation is fx is equal to negative half 1/2 x squared plus 8x minus 25.
Like that?
Yes.
Was a negative in front of that 1/2?
So yeah, there's just a negative in front of the 1/2.
Okay. And they want the vertex. They want whether it opens up or down. What else do they want?
The minimum / maximum value and the Y-intercept.
Not the X-intercepts?
No, just the Y-intercept.
Y-intercepts, always that number right there.
Okay, then.
Notice why. Notice why. The Y-intercept, what is X? Always 0.
Okay.
When you're on the Y-intercept, X is 0, which takes care of those first two terms.
Okay.
So that's the easy one, minus 25. Now we have to figure out, well, does it go up or down? We can do that easily.
So it goes down, it opens up down?
Correct, because it's a negative coefficient in front of the x squared. Now, there's a couple of ways to find the vertex. I really believe the simplest way, hold on, come on. No. I really believe the simplest way to find the vertex, especially when they're looking for the min and the max, is to use the equation for the vertex x-coordinate is minus b over what?
B over A
Over
AC.
2a. No, it's just 2a.
Okay.
Okay? Now, there's various ways to find the vertex. We could put that thing in vertex format.
Yeah.
But that's harder. Applying this formula right here will not only give us the coordinate of the x-coordinate of the vertex, but then we'll take that answer, plug it into the function, and we'll know the y-coordinate of the vertex, and that will represent a maximum or a minimum also. So merely applying this formula, we're going to answer this question and this question almost. So what is this? What's minus b over 2a?
So that would be 4. No. Yeah, that would be 4, right?
Start with,
or no,
give me the numbers. Don't do the whole thing in your head. That's a great way to make mistakes. What's
okay, so it'd be negative 8
over what?
over 2 times negative half.
Okay, let's go ahead and write it out like this. What is all that equal to?
So that would be equal to 16?
Nope. Do the denominator first.
Okay, so
the 2's cancel.
Oh yeah, oh, so it would actually be 4.
No. 2's cancel. And now we got minus 8 over minus 1. It's equal to 8.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So 8 is the line of symmetry. Also, x equals 8. In other words, we now can have a decent idea. There's my line of symmetry at 8. I know it opens down, so it looks something like this. Now it looks more like this because I know my y-intercept is negative. Now, the only point I don't know yet is this point right there. The y coordinate of the vertex. That is going to represent my maximum also. Notice why. If you look at this function, the red function, the maximum comes at the vertex. So, how do I get my y coordinate of the vertex?
So the y coordinate of the vertex is negative 20. No, it's not negative 20.
Don't give me an answer. Just tell me how you're going to do it. In other words, do it step by step.
Okay, so it would be the same as how to find the x. No, it wouldn't be the same.
It's f of 8. In other words, what you're doing is finding out what f of x is when x is 8. Right?
Okay.
Every point on this red graph has to satisfy that equation. That's what that graph means. Every point has to satisfy that equation. So when I'm at 8, it's going to tell me what that y value is. And that y value is f of x. Same thing.
Okay.
The advantage of calling it f of x is it allows me to use notation like f of 8, which is valuable. There's no such thing as y of 8, but with f of x notation, I can now figure out what f of x or y is going to be when x is 8. So if I plug it in, just like this, always do it like this. Don't do any of this in your head. It's just asking for mistakes. Now simplify it. Well, that's 64. Minus half of 64 is minus 32, so that takes care of that. Plus 64 minus 25. Well, that to me looks like 7.
Okay.
So the vertex that they want to know is 8, 7. So that answers a lot. Once you found the vertex, not only have I answered that, I've answered that. I know it's a maximum. And I've answered that. So this really answered 2 out of those 3. And then you merely had to figure out the y coordinate of the vertex. And you always take the x coordinate, plug it into the equation to get the y coordinate.
Okay.
All right, let's try another one.
Okay, so the next one is f of x is equal to 3x squared minus 24x plus 54.
Again, they give it to us in standard format. That is standard format. And again, I think the same way is the easiest way to solve it, as opposed to completing the square and putting this. In other words, here's the other format. This is the vertex format here that I'm writing. Now, the advantage of having it in vertex format is you know the vertex is HK, H comma K. So if I could fiddle with this equation and put it in this format, I would know the vertex instantly. But there's a lot of work there to do that. That's not the easiest thing to complete the square on. So let's go back and do exactly what we did before. What is the x coordinate of the vertex? What's that formula?
So add over 2a.
Let me help you memorize that. What is this?
That's the quadratic formula.
Okay, what is that right there?
That's the vertex formula.
Okay. If you know one, you probably know them both.
Okay.
So if you know the quadratic formula, just take the first half of it.
Okay.
Not the vertex formula. It's the formula for the x coordinate of the vertex only.
Okay.
Okay? So it's minus b over 2a. That's a really critical one for you to memorize.
Okay.
Minus b over 2a. Plug in the numbers. What's minus b?
So minus b is negative 24.
No. What's b?
B is negative 24, right?
Okay, so what's minus b?
So that would just be 24.
Okay. Don't drop negative signs. That's the biggest mistake I see in all of my students. They are dying to get rid of those negative signs. They'll do anything, including just forgetting it. You can't do it. If there's a negative sign there, you got to use it. And b,
Okay.
the b is negative 24, c is positive 54, and a is positive 3.
Yeah.
So it's that, which is 4. So I've got the x coordinate of the vertex. So the line of symmetry I know. It's x. Remember, the line of symmetry is a line. So you need an equation of a line. Okay?
Okay.
Now, I know the x coordinate of the vertex is 4. What's the y coordinate of the vertex?
So we're going to want to substitute x into the equation of
Now,
function,
we're
correct?
going to find f of 4.
Okay.
And when you put something in the parentheses other than x, no matter what it is, you plug it in for x. So
Okay.
3 times 4 squared. And again, I highly recommend doing it this way. Don't do any of this initial math in your head. Now do it in your head. Now you can simplify. 4 squared is 16. 3 times 16 is 48. Minus 4 times that's 92. Plus 54. I think that's plus 6.
Yep.
Oh, no. No, it's not actually. It's plus 10. In other words, the 48 and the 54 add to 102. 102 minus 92 is 10. So that comes out to be 10. Okay?
Wait, so I have a quick question. So 48 times 2 is 96. So why is there a 92 there?
Okay, we're solving this right here.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
4 squared is 16, times 3 is 48. That's where I got that.
okay.
4 times, you are absolutely correct. It's 96.
Oh, okay.
So 6 was the correct answer. Wow, that is crazy weird. That is one of the more unusual things you will ever see happen. I made 2 mistakes and I got the right answer. One counterbalanced the other. 6 was the first. You see what happened there? I mean, that never happens, ever.
Yeah, because then like 6 plus 4 is 10, right?
Right, exactly. No, I mean, I made a mistake in doing my multiplication to get 92, and then I made a mistake using the 92 to get 6. Well, both mistakes offset one another. So I ended up with the right answer by making 2 mistakes. That is what never happens. Usually when you make one mistake on a math problem, you're done. Whether it's forgetting a negative sign or a math mistake, you're done. Okay, but I think we got the right answer now. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's draw a rough picture of it. Where's my vertex?
So your vertex is at 4 and 6.
Okay, I'm going to label that 4, 6. What is the, does this open up or down?
It opens up.
Okay, I'm going to have to do this. So there's my parabola. The dotted line that splits that is my line of symmetry. That's x equal 4. Is that a minimum or a maximum?
That would be a minimum.
Okay, and what is that minimum? When they ask as to what is the minimum, they're asking for the y value, not the x value. So what's that y value right there?
Okay, so the y value would be 6.
Okay. And so we got the vertex, we got the line of symmetry, we got the y value. The only thing we don't have is the y-intercept. What is that?
The y-intercept is 54.
All right. And that was the only 5 things they wanted?
Let's see. So vertex, axis of symmetry, direction, minimum. Yep, that's all.
Okay. It's pretty, with both of these last 2 problems, I'm almost positive the least amount of math is if you use that minus b over 2a. Now, do you have any problems where they tell you to put it into vertex format? Because if you've got some of those, let's work on some of those. I think you've got the other one figured out at this point, don't you?
Yeah, let's see.
We can do another one for sure of standard format. But if they give you vertex format, then you do the problem a little differently. Let me give you one.
Okay.
Okay? Tell me the vertex.
So
both the x and the y.
Okay, let's see. Let me get some scratch paper.
All right, you don't really need any. I'm going to put up, what you need to know is this vertex format right here that I'm writing in the upper hand right. That's the vertex format, and H and K are the vertex. So what is H?
So H is -2.
No.
H is 2?
Correct. What is K?
And then K is 4.
Okay. What's the line of symmetry?
The line of symmetry is 4.
No, it always goes through. Remember, these are always parabolas that open up or down. Okay. So if that is my vertex, which it is, I can tell that it opens up because that's a +3. So it's going to look something like this. Okay, there's the line of symmetry. Notice that the line of symmetry is always x equal whatever the x coordinate is of the vertex. Line of symmetry always runs through the x coordinate of the vertex.
Okay.
Okay, is it a minimum or a maximum?
It's a minimum.
It is a minimum. It's this value right here. It's always the y value.
Okay, so that would be 4 then.
Okay. And the y-intercept, now this is not as easy to figure out when it's in vertex format. In other words, it's not 4. However, what do you need to know about the y-intercept? What is x when you're trying to find the y-intercept?
So x is always 0.
Correct. So I'm going to plug in 0 for x. And that will give me the y-intercept. Okay? So now I got -2 squared plus 4. Well, that's 4 times 3, 12 plus 4 equals 16. So the y-intercept is 16. In other words, this point right there is 16. I've drawn it a little funky, so it doesn't look like 16, but my graph, the graph doesn't really need to match your answers. These are the answers, not the graph. And there was there was a fifth thing. Oh no, there wasn't. We had five things before, because if you had the x coordinate and the y coordinate. In this case, got them both in one.
Okay.
So you can see how different the problem was when they gave it to us in vertex format.
Yeah.
You get the vertex instantly, no calculations. You get the line of symmetry instantly, no calculations. You get the minimum instantly, no calculations. The only calculation you have to do is to get the y-intercept. But it all depends on what form they give it to you as to how you proceed. Do memorize that. That is your standard format for quadratics.
Okay.
And sometimes you can do the other problems when they give you it in standard format. Here's standard format. When they give it to you in standard format, you could still use this to figure out all those things. It's just that you would have to complete the square to get it into that format. And that is a lot of math. At some point, you're going to have to know how to complete the square. So it isn't something we should shy away from. I just don't know whether you're at that point yet. If you haven't gotten to completing the square yet, then we should probably wait until you do get to that.
Okay, I don't think I've gotten there yet.
Okay. Go ahead and read some more problems that you have down there. And we'll let you solve them.
One of them is, let's see. Oh, I think it actually, I don't know. But it's the same it's the same rules as the last problems that we did. And the first one is y equals 5 over 7, parentheses x plus 1, parentheses squared plus 5.
Notice what format this is. This is vertex form.
Vertex form.
Yeah. Tell me what A is.
So A would be -1.
No, A is 5/7.
Okay.
That's A right there. H, the x coordinate of the vertex, is -1, correct? And K, the y coordinate of the vertex, is?
+5.
Okay. So the fact that they gave this to you in, notice why that's in vertex format. And in fact, it's kind of funny, they didn't call this one f of x. And the reason they didn't is because students are very used to this. This is rarely given with f of x. I'm not quite sure why, but usually it's y equals that. And that's the way they gave it to you. And it's in exact vertex format. Okay?
Yeah.
So we've got the vertex. What's the vertex?
So the vertex is -1 and 5.
And what's the line of symmetry?
-1.
No, it's x equal -1.
Okay.
Because it's a line. In other words, the line of symmetry splits the parabola. That dotted line is the line they want. Well, -1 is a point. It's this point right here. That's not what they want. They want the line, the equation of that line. And equations of lines, vertical lines are x equals something, horizontal lines are y equals something. So that's the answer for the equation for the line of symmetry.
Okay.
What is the y-intercept?
So the y-intercept, that would be How do I yeah.
Always ask yourself, what is X? When you're talking about the Y-intercept.
Oh yes, so X is 0.
Okay. Now do the math.
Oh, okay, I guess I remember now. So I substitute X in, 0 in for X for the equation.
Okay. What do you get?
So I get 5/7 squared plus 5.
No, you're not squaring the 5/7. You're squaring that. That's the only thing you're squaring.
So then I would get 5 and 5/7.
Correct. That is the Y-intercept. Okay, and what was the other thing? Maximum or minimum? What is it if you look at the graph? The graph will always tell you whether you have a maximum or a minimum. Maximums look like that, minimums look like that. Notice that that is the minimum value on that function. It can never be less than that. There's nowhere on that graph less than that on the y-axis. So it's a minimum at what? Or a minimum of. Jonathan, can you hear me? I feel like we lost audio. Yeah, your audio is breaking up. Let me call you on the phone and let's finish this by phone. I think your audio, we've had, yeah, are you still there?
Yes, Alex. Do you want me to make you one?
Yes.
Oh,
With everything?
Jonathan?
Hello. Sorry, one second.
Hold on. Are we on the phone or are we on GoToMeeting?
So right now I can hear.
Let's switch to the phone.
Switch to the phone. So let's hit
So we don't have
right up here. That has it work all the time.
Now we got it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, let's just finish out this last 25 minutes on the phone, since we seem to have had some audio problems. What do you got next? Did we finish that one? I think we finished that one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay.
So next is y equals -2 parentheses x.
Hold on. Sorry, just a second. I forgot to turn my writing tool back on. Okay. Go ahead again. I'm sorry. It's y equals what?
Y equals -2 parentheses x minus 4 parentheses squared minus 7.
Okay, what format is that? That's always the first question you want to ask yourself.
That is in vertex format.
Okay. Notice that I could just go ahead and square that, combine everything, and I would be in standard form.
Yeah.
But we've already seen that when it's moved to its vertex format, it's far easier to solve.
Yeah.
Let's first of all figure out what A. You don't really need A. They didn't. Well, A will tell you whether it opens up. That's what A.
So A is -2.
What's H?
4.
And what's K?
-7.
So the vertex.
So the vertex is 4 and -7.
What's the line of symmetry?
4.
X equal 4.
Yes, x equal 4.
I don't know if your teacher will take points off for that, but I'll bet you will. Read this for the 4 down.
Yeah.
It is a line. It's got to be an equation of a line. It's not a point. This is a point. Okay? So I
Okay.
can write that as a point. But a line, if I just say 4, that's a point. That's not a line.
Okay.
And is it a minimum or a maximum?
It's a maximum. Maximum, yeah.
And what is that maximum? Go ahead and say y equals.
Y equals -7.
Okay. And that, in other words, the minimum or maximum is always the y coordinate of that vertex.
Okay.
What's the y-intercept?
So,
This is the only one you have to do any math on.
so the y-intercept is 2
Write it out.
parentheses 0 minus 4.
I'll do it like that. I don't need to put 0 in there necessarily, but whoops, you don't want to make that stuff. Okay, do that math.
Okay, so 32 minus 7. That would be 25.
Do it by PEMDAS. Do this first. What is that?
So that's 16
Okay, so now I got this.
times,
What's minus 2 times 16?
oh, -32. And then
Okay, minus 7.
that would be -39.
Again, big tendency to drop negative sign. Not you, everybody does. Just try to avoid it.
Yeah.
In other words, when you see a negative sign, put it in there, and then if there's an X and that X is negative, put the other negative sign. Just try not to drop negatives.
Okay. So next problems. So they want me to, again, do the same thing, and the equation is f of x is equal to 2x, parentheses, x plus 10.
Yeah, again, they give it to you as an f of x instead of a y, but they give it to you as a y whenever they're giving it to you in vertex format. I find that kind of interesting. Okay? This format is not any format.
Okay.
Okay? What do I got to do next?
So,
In other words, that's not vertex format, that's not standard. So what do we got to do?
I guess identify the A, B, and C.
No. It's not in any of those formats.
Okay.
You can't do that.
So then
What's the only
distribute.
thing you can do?
Distribute.
What is it?
So 2x squared plus 20x.
Okay. Now, that is in standard format. Okay. Tell me what A, B, and C are. When something's in standard format, we're going to use minus B over 2A. Okay, but tell me what A, B, and C are.
So A is 2, B is 20, and C is 0.
So, the x coordinate of the vertex, which I write like this, your teacher might not write it like that, but I think that defines it perfectly. So what is this?
So that would be -2 over 2.
Negative b.
Oh, so -20 over 2 times 2.
So, the vertex, start right here. Now, that's the x coordinate of vertex. What do we have to do next?
So we have to substitute the
Get
x
the y
for
coordinate.
5.
What do we do?
Substitute the x for 5.
Okay, so now that's 2 times minus 5 squared plus 20 times minus 5. This is where I believe it's really, really important to just substitute. Don't do any math.
Okay.
Because it's in the doing two steps in one, then you drop those negative signs and you make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just do it one step at a time, it's awful hard to go wrong here. What's the next line I should write?
So 50 plus negative 100.
Which is the same as minus 100. You don't need both the plus and the minus then.
Okay.
So what's 50 minus 100?
So 50 minus 100 is negative 50.
That is the Y vertex. So let's see, we've got our vertex. What's the line of symmetry?
The line of symmetry is negative. No, not negative. It is negative. Yeah, negative 5.
Nope.
Hmm.
X equal negative.
Oh yes.
Remember, it is a line. Okay, so I got the vertex, I got the line of symmetry. Is it a minimum or a maximum?
It is a minimum.
Okay, there's no reason to ever really get confused here. First of all, that's a positive number, right?
Yes.
That means it opens up. I don't even care where the vertex is. I know it opens like that. It doesn't open down. And when it opens up, you're always looking at what? What is that down there?
The minimum.
Okay. So when it opens up, you're always talking about a minimum. When it opens down, you're always talking about a maximum. And what is the minimum? Y equals, or even f of x equals. What is the absolute minimum value that f of x is ever going to equal to?
Negative 50.
Good. And the Y-intercept.
So the Y-intercept. So I'm gonna have to do the math here too.
Not really. Just look at those. Look at the top equation.
Oh yeah. So it's 10.
No. Got two things multiplied by one another, and one of them is 0.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
In other words, we're finding the Y-intercept by substituting 0 for x.
Okay.
Well, that makes that 0 instantly, and 0 times anything is 0.
Okay.
So that's why there's no math. You're looking at the product of two things, and one of them is 0. You don't have to worry about whatever the second thing is. It could be a billion. Would not matter. 0 times a billion is 0.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So this is the only one they've given to you that has not been in standard format, and it's not been in vertex format. So the easiest thing to do is just multiply it together, and you end up with standard format.
Okay.
Even though it doesn't really look like standard format because there's no constant, but there is a constant. It's just not written. It's plus sigma. Okay, and that's what makes it standard format.
Okay.
Now, notice I never really needed to know that. In other words, my vertex doesn't have C in it. Just got B and A. So I didn't need to know that C was 0. For any step along the way here. Not at one point did I need to know C was 0.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
But I asked it because I wanted to make sure you did know that. There may be situations where you do have to know that is C and it's 0. All right, what else we got?
Okay. So the next equation is.
I can almost tell the format they're going to give it to you by whether you started out with Y or f of x.
So it's f of x is equal to negative 15 parentheses x minus 9 parentheses x minus 5.
This is the third format. This is called the X-Intercept format.
Okay.
Okay? What the X-Intercept format looks like is f of x equals, again, the a, and believe it or not, that's the same a, even though it's a different format, x minus p times x minus q, and p and q are your x-intercepts.
Okay.
In other words, what this is saying is that I know I have an x-intercept at 9, and I know I have an x-intercept at 5, and it's a parabola that opens down, so it's going to have to look something like that. So just knowing, in other words, this is also a very good format. That tells you an awful lot of information. It doesn't give you the vertex, but notice how easy it is to find the line of symmetry, which gives us the x-coordinate of the vertex.
Okay.
What is it?
So the x vertex is
If this is 9 and this is 5, and that line of symmetry is exactly halfway in between them.
so the x would be 7, and the and then the y.
The y, you're going to have to do it by plugging in 7 into that equation. So what we're looking for is f of 7. So minus 15 times 7 minus 9 times 7 minus 5. Okay, the easy way to do this, now let's put in another step there, just so I don't lose anybody. So 7 minus 9 is minus 2. I don't drop any negative signs. That's a positive 2. Now I can do 4 times 15 to get 60. That's the way I would do it. Or I would do 15 times 2, which is 30 times 2, which is 60. Question is it positive 60 or negative 60?
It would be positive 60.
So I've got my line of symmetry is what?
Your line of symmetry is
Line of symmetry.
7.
A line.
Oh, x equals 7.
And the y-intercepts.
The y-intercept is oh, so that would be
Just substituted 0 for x.
oh, okay. So
Okay, remember when you're doing the y-vertex, you substitute the x-vertex. But when you're looking for the y-intercept, you always substitute 0 for x. When
okay.
you're looking for y-intercepts, x is 0. When you're looking for x-intercepts, y is 0. Always.
Okay.
Those are 2 facts that's well worth memorizing because a lot of people don't, for some reason, they don't grasp that. They know the y-intercept, but they don't realize that that means x is 0. And when they're on the x-intercept, that means y is 0. I'm a little surprised they haven't asked you for the x-intercepts on these problems. When they give you to you this format, well, they don't need to ask for it because it's staring you right in the face, 9 and 5. But on the other ones, it would have been a little harder math to figure out the x-intercepts than it was to figure out the y-intercept. The y-intercept is a piece of cake. You just substitute 0 for x. But the x-intercept is a little harder to figure out because you have to substitute 0 for f of x and solve for x. And that involves quadratic, probably needs factoring, and all kinds of things. So the x-intercepts are much harder to figure out.
Okay.
Okay? So what is this number? I have no idea. If you got a calculator, what's 5 times 9 times 15? It's a negative number. For sure, because there's 3 negative signs. And whatever, 45 times 15. What is 45 times 15?
So 45 times 15 is
675.
so.
So that would be the Y-intercept. And you can see why that would be the way I've drawn my picture.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I haven't drawn my picture correctly because I didn't put this at 60.
Mm-hmm.
But also, this 15 is a huge stretch factor. So that makes this thing look like this more than the way I've originally drawn it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's vertically stretched. And that means that's not going to cross the y-axis until all the way down at minus 670.
Okay.
So knowing what the graph looks like, is helpful, but not vital. You can figure out every single thing here without even drawing a graph.
Okay.
As long as you remember the method. Okay, we got time for one more.
Okay.
Sure. Another one like that might be good. We've done 2 or 3 with standard format, 2 or 3 with vertex format. Let's do another one with X-Intercept format.
Okay, so yeah, it's back to standard form with graphs, like with graphing. So do you want me to just say that one, or because that's all that's left?
As long as they're asking you to graph.
Yeah.
Well,
So
we can do that. So go ahead.
y is equal to negative 2 x squared minus 16 minus 33.
Minus 16x
Yeah.
minus 33.
Yes.
Okay, well, you went against what I thought. I thought they would have called this f of x. Okay, but you're right. That's standard format. So, standard format. And they want you to graph this. That's it.
And also find the
All those things.
yeah all of the things we were
Okay,
doing.
we've been doing that on every problem. We've been finding all those things and we've been graphing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The thing is that once you identify all those things, you can graph it easily.
Mm-hmm.
So when you've done all the algebra, what's the formula for the x-coordinate of the vertex when it's in standard format?
Negative b over 2a.
Okay, with substitute numbers.
So 16 over 2 times negative 2.
That's the x-coordinate of the vertex. What's the y-coordinate of the vertex? Always the next step.
So the y-coordinate of the vertex is so y equals 2 times negative 4 squared minus 16 times 4 minus 33.
This is where you really got to be careful about not dropping negative signs, because you can see there's 4 of them there. 5 of them. There are 5 negative signs. They did that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
They did. Just because they wanted to give you a problem that you got 5 negative signs involved. Okay, so break this down. Minus 2 times 16.
So negative 32.
Okay, okay. Negative 32. Okay. 4 times 16 is 64.
Yes.
What's the next
Plus
one?
64 minus 33.
Okay, that and that are minus 65. So that must be minus 1.
Yes.
Okay. Erase some of that so we have room to draw the graph. Okay, so I'm going to start the graph now because I've got the most important point. Always the most important point is that vertex.
Mm-hmm.
That vertex is right about there. label it -4, -1. Okay? Now, does it open up or down?
It opens down.
Now it goes like this. At this point, I don't mind graphing it, even though I don't know yet what the Y-intercept is or anything else. I know that this is not the exact graph, but it's close.
Mm-hmm.
If I get a Y-intercept, that'll be very helpful. What's my Y-intercept?
So your Y-intercept is -2x times 0 squared. So that would actually be -33.
That's the easiest one to always get when you're in standard format, because the first two terms disappear.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you make x equals 0, well, then that term disappears and the second term disappears. So you're always left with that constant. Okay? So this point right there is at -33.
Mm-hmm.
Now, despite the fact that I haven't really drawn it to scale, it got all the key information. She would not take points off at this point, other than we haven't given the line of symmetry yet. It's not.
So the line of symmetry is -4.
Line.
So x equals -4.
And the minimum or maximum?
Maximum,
What is it?
-4 and 1. So
The maximum is referring to the y value.
okay, so y is equal to -1.
Yeah, and I don't know that you necessarily need it like that. It's not the equation of a line. In other words, the way I've written it is the equation of a line, so that's not right. What they want is the point. And that point, the maximum value is -1. Okay? In other words, they're not looking for this line right there, which is what I originally put. I put y equal -1, which would be that dotted line. That's not what they're asking for. What they're asking for is this value right there.
Okay.
It's that y value. And it's always y that refers to the vertex, the y coordinate.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's a good place to stop. I think we covered the three primary things. Just remember the methods, because we use a different method for each of the three formats.
Okay.
Okay? But most every method, try to figure out the vertex first, except that it's in X-Intercept form. In other words, if it's in something like this, then the vertex is not the easiest thing to figure out first. The X-intercepts are, because that's what they are. The X-intercepts are the negatives of those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So when you get the X-intercepts, now the vertex, you know, is halfway between those X-intercepts always. So once you get the X-intercepts, you know exactly where the X-coordinate and the line of symmetry are.
Yes.
And then you go on your way and figure out the Y-coordinate of the vertex. All right? All right. I think I may have lost the audio here. Jonathan, you still there?
Yes.
Okay. You have a good night. I will talk to you next time.
Okay. You too.
Oh, you just hang up. That's so convenient. Is Shasha locked up?
Are you still talking with Molly?
No, it's